know that it is law which enables people to live together, that creates order out of chaos. We know that law is the glue that holds civilization together, and we know that if one person's rights are denied, the rights of all are endangered. The Robert F. Kennedy Human Rights Award recognizes those who share my father's belief that democracy under the rule of law is the indispensable safeguard of the inherent rights and dignity of the human person. It's a reason why this award is given annually. Human rights work never ends because respect for human rights is not inevitable. It is not a cause that advances itself. The arc of history does not bend towards justice under its own power. It bends because people, ordinary people, extraordinary people, push it and pull it and yank it and bang it and twist it and stress it and strain it and protest it and vote for it and sue it and organize against it and wear it down and build it up. The laureates we recognize today are living proof of the power of extraordinary people to effect extraordinary change. They are living proof that the human spirit and common cause is where our power truly lies. As my father once said, human faith and passion and belief are forces ultimately more powerful than all the calculations of our economists or of our greatest generals. And in this work, you are never alone. Those with the courage to enter the moral conflict, Daddy said, will find themselves with companions in every corner of the globe. To you, our laureates, I say, you are our cherished companions.
You know, for 2 decades, NUPL has been in the forefront of human rights defense in the Philippines. Their work is as necessary as it is risky. NUPL work is essential, providing legal services to people who could not otherwise get or afford the ability to defend themselves against abuses by the government, often those in low-income and marginalized communities. NUPL members are brave. By protecting the ability of people to freely exercise their basic rights under international law, they become targets of a government intent on denying such rights to the people. Some, like NUPL's Rodolfo Felicio, Benjamin Ramos, and Juan Macababad, have been killed for defending human rights.
NUPL expresses that guiding principles in its self-description as, quote, the best lawyer money can never buy, unquote. Isn't that great? And NUPL's members have lived that guiding principle with the human quality, which after love, my father most admired, and that is courage. As America's top law enforcement officer, Robert F. Kennedy worked day in and day out to advance the cause of justice and to write it into the books of law. During the height of the American Civil Rights Movement, he brought the power of the federal government to the aid of civil rights workers by forcing recalcitrant state governments run by white supremacists to comply with the law of the land. Tonight, Kennedy Human Rights seeks to bring the power of the international law to the aid of our laureates who, after all, are demanding nothing more than their government now comply with its laws and with those of the international community. NUPL lawyers work tirelessly to seek accountability and justice for those who are subject to grave abuses. They defend journalists, development workers, civil society leaders, and activists who have been targeted through a practice known as red tagging, the labeling of individuals as communist rebels or terrorists in order to discredit and intimidate them. Such tactics are not directed only at individuals. These tactics are meant to silence dissent wholesale by instilling fear among those who seek to exercise their rights to speak, organize, report, advocate, and serve their communities. Across the country, NUPL stands with those facing these pressures, often at grave personal risk. Now, one of his current clients, or two of his current clients, I should say, are his mother and his mother-in-law, both falsely accused on trumped-up charges. They are activists in their own right, and they were arrested in April after the police planted explosives in the house where they were staying. His mother-in-law remains detained with few prospects of release due to the serious nature of the criminal charges. And AK told me that of the 700 political prisoners now jailed in the Philippines, almost all of them are there because police planted a grenade or some other armaments in their homes or on their bodies or in their luggage. So this is commonplace. And it leads to people being in prison for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. Or over the years, NUPL lawyers have been threatened, harassed, surveilled, prosecuted on questionable charges, publicly vilified, and subjected to violence. Some have even paid the ultimate price. Attorney Rodolfo Felicio was murdered in 2014. Attorney Benjamin Ramos was murdered in 2018 while representing victims and families of 9 other people who were also murdered after participating in a protest on a sugarcane plantation. Attorney Juan Macababad, known for defending indigenous communities, farmers, and political prisoners, was killed in 2021. NUPL lawyers and founding member Maria Catherine Daunog Salukan endured sustained harassment, intimidation, while representing political activists, and her colleague, paralegal William Bugatti, was murdered after receiving threats related to his human rights work. Joselie and AK, you and the NUPL team are ripples of hope for all of us. For your unwavering commitment to human dignity, for your defense of the vulnerable, for your courage in the face of intimidation and violence, and for your steadfast belief in the rule of law and the cause of justice. It is my honor to present you with the Robert F. Kennedy Human Rights Award to the National Union of People's Lawyers in the Philippines.
To Carrie Kennedy and the Robert and Ethel Kennedy Human Rights Center, to our allies, partners, and friends gathered here and across the world who have stood with us through the years, maraming salamat po. Thank you. Our hearts are full with gratitude and also with a dull ache of knowing that the conditions making our work necessary have not relented. We are people's lawyers, human rights defenders practicing law in the Philippines, where law, as in many countries, is shaped to concentrate power, to punish dissent, and to make injustice look orderly and legitimate. Into this, people's lawyers have risen, not only in courtrooms, but wherever the people's cause had to be defended. People's lawyers have stood in the front lines with victims of grave rights violations, political prisoners, and marginalized communities. We have defended people who are met with repression each time they dare fight for their rights or question why we in a country so rich in land, in resources, in labor, are so poor. That choice has never been without cost. Our lawyers have been vilified, red tagged, surveilled, threatened, and prosecuted for fabricated charges. We have been labeled terrorists, and we have buried colleagues. So this award is a salute to our battle-scarred visionary leaders, but above all, it belongs to our fallen. It honors Attorney Benjamin Ramos, Attorney Juan Macababad, and others who paid the ultimate price for standing with poor peasants, workers, and indigenous communities. Attorneys Ben and Juan were shot dead in broad daylight by unidentified state agents, and no one to this day have been brought to the bar of justice for their killings. They showed us that our profession is a battleground between a congealed rule of law that protects the status quo and a living rule of justice that protects human life. When a state feels the need to silence lawyers, it is because law, wielded on behalf of the people, is a genuine threat to power. We thus take their unfinished work as our mandate to stay the course. And we do this by staying together, by practicing, as I tell our new lawyers, with skill, but also with tenderness, with discipline, but also with fire, by never forgetting that behind every hearing, every jail visit, every late-night pleading are people whose lives have been made harder by a system that was never built for them. In allies like you, we find an unyielding refusal to look away. You have chosen to stand with us when institutions at home seek to criminalize our work. The concentration of power and weaponization of law are common features of societies unwilling to confront their inequities. And they are unfolding here, now, in the country whose democratic ideals the Philippines was once asked to mirror. Migrants detained without charge, oversight bodies dismantled, and fear manufactured to justify the suspension of rights. It fails to see that fascism does not always arrive by smashing the machinery of law. It arrives by occupying it, rewriting it, and using its processes to make injustice look legitimate. It wants us to believe that the violence inflicted on a starving peasant in Negros has nothing to do with the state power deployed against an undocumented worker in America. But the tiny ripples of hope that Robert Kennedy once imagined do cross oceans. They reach each other from a million different centers of energy and daring. We cross that ocean now, from Manila to Washington, to propose a solidarity that refuses to be comforted by myths. We accept this award as an anchor of our shared struggle. It binds our reality to yours, forces us to look at each other, to disrupt the myths that keep us complacent, and to refuse to make peace with an orderly tyranny. Let us continue side by side the urgent work of lawyering for the people and of defending their rights. To our clients and the peoples of the world whose rights are under siege, so long as you fight, we will fight beside you. On behalf of my colleagues, especially those who plod on out of the limelight and silently, and our clients who believe in us, thank you for this honor. Maraming salamat po.